Hello, in today's lesson, we are going to talk about universalism and particularism as a part of individualism and collectivism. So we will talk about these two dimensions which were developed by Geert Hofstede and which belong to Hofstede's cultural dimensions theory. This theory shows the differences between cultures. Geert Hofstede called these differences cultural dimensions. If we look at cultural dimensions, we'll see that they are individualism, collectivism, masculinity, femininity, uncertainty, avoidance, and risk-taking, power distance, time, and also indulgence and restraint. For you, we have grouped these cultural dimensions into the table that shows how cultural dimensions it will look like this. So the table shows how cultural dimensions may be also further grouped and tell us more about the culture. So when we think in terms of dimensions and when we think of a culture, we'll see that it is important for cultures to understand relations in a group or how people belong in a group and also what they do in a group. So these dimensions include individualism, collectivism, universalism, particularism, power distance, and masculinity and femininity. Another special point when you think of cultures is their attitude to time. And here it is important to understand that there are cultures who are polychronic, monochronic, who are focused more on being or doing. And finally, we'll discuss with you the language and how the language helps in the culture to communicate the message. But today here we're talking about relations in a group and group belonging, and we start with individualism and collectivism. So as it is clear from the definition, individualism is the tendency of people to look after themselves and their immediate family only, while collectivism is the tendency of people to belong to groups or collectives and looked after each other in exchange for loyalty. So usually we talk about different countries that may be high in individualism or high in collectivism. But today here we will also talk about the main principles. Principle number one is identity. So in individualism, I identity is more important than we identity. In collectivism, we identity is more important than I identity. So the group connections in individualism, the personal, what is important for me, prevails over the group needs, and in collectivism, group needs prevail. So if we think about in-group relations, like to be a part of the group and to be in relations with people out of the groups, in individualism, it is not important because personal merits are more important. In collectivism, it is very important who you are, what group you belong to, and that is how you are assessed as a person. Values in individualism derive from personal growth and privacy. In collectivism, the main values are rooted in traditional thinking, and it is very important that the group members control over the group. Communication responsibility in individualism, it is personal. I, as a teacher, is responsible for our communication. In a group, it is in collectivism, group communication is very important. It means that you as students are more responsible for the communication. The conflicts in individualism are seen as something good, and they usually result with third parties. That is why individualistic countries have very good law systems, while in collectivism, the conflicts are avoided and the face saving is more important. Education and individualism, it is very important to get knowledge from education, and academic morality is really high. While in collectivism, certificates are more important, and very often we may see that there may be false certificates that people may get. So why did these countries develop this way? Usually it is very much influenced by geography and by the way of living, and also all the things such as geography and way of living, they are important for the ties inside the society. In individualism, the ties are horizontal, and in collectivism, the ties are vertical. So if we go back to the beginning of our video, we'll see that these are the two important dimensions when we think of relations inside the group. And now we'll also talk about universalism and particularism. Universalism, as you can already see, is how you view the relations between the people. There are rules, and the rules can be accepted to anyone. While particularism, it's when we have it here, so conflict resolution. So here the rules are important for everyone, but in collectivism, the conflicts are avoided, face saving, and the rules, they are different. There are some rules for the members of your group and other rules for the people out of the group. So when we think of universalism and particularism, we can think of the main focus. Universalism in focus on rules, and particularism is focused on personal respect. So altogether, we see that rules are very important in universalism, and rules for particular people are important for particularism. Exceptions are very rare, one law for all, while exceptions are a norm. And the main value in universalism would be following the rules. Why? Showing your respect in particularism would be the specific rules for every case. And if we think about conflict resolution, we just saw it here, and we'll see that conflicts are resolved with third parties, justice, police, authorities, and in particularism, conflicts are resolved in a group. So people solve their conflicts. So today we have talked about individualism, collectivism, and universalism and particularism. They all are cultural dimensions, and these dimensions were developed by Geert Hofstede. So, and these dimensions may be roughly divided into what and how we communicate in a group, how the cultures express their attitude to time, and how they communicate. So actually, that's all I wanted to tell you in this lecture. Thank you.